The UC Today news team were on site in the south of France for Centile's Customer Summit 2019. The parent group of Centile announced it was rebranding to become Enreach, and that it had also acquired a UK-based company to add to the group's portfolio. We spoke to the group's CEO, Stijn Nijhuis, to find out more.
I wanted to ask a bit about that rebranding, because obviously it's been within Enreach, business has been added, and now you've gone with it Enreach. What's the reasoning behind that?
Well, I think within Enreach, it was a two-word name, a bit long. It was meant as a temporary name actually for our group that we had already when we were still only VoiceWorks. And we felt that now that we've grown so much as a group, added so many different cultures, added so many different companies, the time has come to get a new, catchier name that binds us together in our ambition, in our purpose, also towards the market, and can really make a big impact. And we felt that within Reach was not yet cutting it, and what we really liked the Reach part, so we kept that in and we made it Enreach, and we're really happy with the result.
In your presentation this morning, you were talking about how the Enreach, it maintains a bit of the ethos of the previous group, doesn't it, in terms of accessibility of solutions and some of the philosophies that you had previously?
Yes, that's right. I think part of the philosophy we all share is that we see an opportunity in Europe to be radically focused on the SMB market with UC products. We see that larger operators are sometimes neglecting the SMB market, struggle with how to approach them, and we don't just see it in one market, we see it in all markets across Europe. So we see a real opportunity there to become more a UC player with a virtualized network layer as well. So we will become an MVNO in multiple countries and really make sure that we can provide an integrated total experience. And this is the opportunity we see to make sure that we bring this within reach or Enreach of also the small to medium businesses and not just large enterprises. We think small to medium businesses can be the frontier of innovations and not the afterthought. And we also see that they are more open to test new technologies and also are demanding a more radical consumer grade user experience for enterprise level reliability. And this is the opportunity we want to seize.
Yeah, and you were clear on stage that your goal is to become Europe's leading unified communications as a service provider, and with that in mind, you also announced some other news of an acquisition of a UK-based telephony firm, Network Telecom.
Yes, that's correct. We're very proud that we now finally are able to take a step into the UK market. We consider it impossible to be a European UCaaS champion without Britain, at least for now. But we really
still part of Europe for the moment.
But you're also one of the most challenging UC as a service markets. There is a lot of players there. There's also a lot of people selling similar solutions. So we still see a big opportunity there. So in Britain itself, using the volume and the sales force we get from Network Telecom, we will tailor our platform more and more towards the UK market for the best and perfect market fit. We will also use the volume of Network Telecom to make sure that we are able to provide the complete spectrum, including the MVNO services in one package, go beyond what's possible right now in terms of fixed mobile integration, also in the UK market, and then with our own technology become the biggest also in the UK when we're talking about players who bring their own technology to the market. And I think that's something where we really shine. I explained on stage, our purpose is to create contact magic. We think we are really a creative company. We love to create a different user experience for the customer, and we feel that we can best do that by also building our own platforms, but not one platform for the entire European market, but well, it's one platform, but with different customizations, different possibilities per market. And the only way to do that is have a successful go-to-market organization in each country who brings us that input. And we're really happy that we can now work with Network Telecom on that.
Yeah, and why Network Telecom in the UK? What was particularly attractive about their proposition to add that to the group portfolio?
That's a good question. So with Network Telecom, first and foremost, we are buying a commercial organization that has shown that they can pivot from one product to the next. So they have switched technologies and models a couple of times, and almost within 1 or 2 months they are able to really successfully sell that. So they are able to adapt different technologies to their needs of the customers. So that's one. And two is we don't want to buy companies that are selling a Me Too product. As I shared, we are not a Me Too player. We want companies that differentiate. This can be on the basis of product, it can be on the basis of customer service. And in the case of Network Telecom, we see that they are really able to differentiate with actually a very innovative phone proposition. So they have built a system where there is a video phone, and they have been able to sell video phones to a lot of SMBs that have never considered a video phone. But by making a really easy to use system, also adding their own apps onto the video phone, they are able to bring video telephony to the SMB in the UK quite successfully. And we were very impressed with that because video phones have been here for a long time. I remember one from 10 years ago. We've had it in our offering in the Netherlands, in Germany, also for a long time. But I don't know, somehow people are not feeling it, they're not using it, and Network Telecom is able to sell them. And that for us was a really big trigger. Hey, these guys are not just selling the traditional telephony, they are able to also sell what the future brings very successfully. And this was really exciting for us.
We then caught up with Enreach's CCO, Ralph Ebbinghaus, to review his presentation at the event, which focused on the importance of the channel market for Enreach. There's a balance to be struck between partner and direct business, and Ralph explained how Enreach's partners always take priority.
I wanted to talk to you about a couple of aspects of the presentation that you did at the summit earlier on this morning. And you were talking about the importance of the channel and your service provider community in each of the different regions. So I just wanted to understand why that's so important to the Enreach group.
Yeah, I think we as a group, so we facilitate many different relationships in the different countries. So we are selling our products and services through service providers and carriers like the Deutsche Telekom, the Eliza, the Unity Media, and others in the different countries. And we, let's say, I think from the origin of the different groups, so we have a very strong reseller DNA. So and that's I think that's something, let's say, which makes us very strong, that we support the business model of resellers here a lot. So and that's I think something, let's say, which is important, and all the channel surveys shows that let's say we as a group, so we let's say we listen to our partners, and we work together with our partners very closely, let's say to let's say increase our business here.
And it's the vast proportion of the group's business is done through partners, but you do also have direct models in certain aspects and certain regions. So, and you were talking this morning about why that's important as well, not just to have a channel-based model.
Yeah, exactly. So we also have direct models in some countries, and I think having a direct model is also, let's say, very important to have this direct customer feedback. So to work with customers directly, and we always make sure that the direct model is not in conflict with an indirect model. So because that's very important, because we really, let's say, value and honor the business model of our partners and resellers. So we always make sure that the direct model is not conflicting with the indirect model. But it brings us a lot of benefit in terms of, let's say, having this direct contact to the end user, understanding what the end users are thinking. That's something which makes the product better, and that's something, let's say, which makes our proposition better.
And that's incredibly important, because effectively you need to be able to leverage the information. You're working in so many different regions, and the European market has so many nuances. It's very important to understand how each different region, whether that's the UK with the new acquisition, or Germany, or the Mediterranean, how each of those markets differ.
Yeah, exactly. And also I think one thing which is really important, so when you think about, let's say, the markets are very different, so from a perspective of cloud deployment, but also mobile deployment. So I'm really happy, and that's something where we as a group can learn a lot, let's say, from the developments in Scandinavian markets, as, let's say, typically far, let's say, more advanced compared to other markets in Europe. So in US there's specialities in each and every market. So in Germany, so where Swix is originated, so there's clearly, let's say, a preference for, let's say, different models. So the German Mittelstand tends to have let's say, still likes on-prem models, but let's say is very much focused on let's say private cloud models, hybrid cloud models. So that's what the Germans like, and you can sell lots of phones. So the phone business very strong in Germany, and also in some other countries. In other countries like Finland or Denmark, the phone business does not play such an important role.
More of mobility.
Mobility, mobile, that's key. And if you're active in these markets, if you have let's say the expertise and the knowledge from these markets, that makes your offer better, right? So and that's something, let's say, which we try to glue this together in the group. So to have this expertise there, and let's say then thinking about platforms which support that. So and that's something where I say it makes not only a lot of sense, it makes us very strong. So to have the different go-to markets, and not this one size fits all thing. So we are not let's say saying this is a solution and that works in every European market. We say, look, we look at the markets, and we really, let's say, in our proposition we consider the different let's say strengths of the market.
Finally, we joined Head of International Sales and Marketing at Enreach, Bertrand Porcelot, to find out how the new company will be approaching the various markets it operates in, and equipping its partners to deal with a new wave of competition.
I wanted to talk to you. You were doing a presentation before about the sort of international go-to-market strategy for the new Enreach group, and I wondered, You were talking about the threat from the US over-the-top providers. What's the new group's response to that?
Well, as you saw in the presentation, our international go-to-market is really targeting diversity. We see the European market as a set of different regions, different cultures, and different stage of maturity with reference to cloud services and cloud UC services. So that's our approach to the multiple territories and geographies. That's a key point.
Do you think the way that the group has grown with the mergers and acquisitions of companies that specialise in those local geographies gives you an advantage in terms of that local knowledge of those different markets?
Yes, because what we learned through years, and all these entities learned as well, is you need to be in the field locally. That's really how you know your end customers, their needs, their expectations. And we've built our technology that way. Each entity in the group did that. Swix in Germany, VoiceWorks in Netherlands, ourselves in France and elsewhere. So that's really a key differentiator. Learning from that, putting that into the product, not trying to fly a one-size-fits-all approach across the Atlantic, just as a note.
And the final thing I wanted to ask you about is Project Infinity. See if you can give us a little bit of a teaser about what that's going to involve.
Well, the whole objective here is to bring together the best of each of the technology. And that's not just a buzzword or whatever, it's really at the foundation. To have a nice transition towards a one platform. We don't want to be with as many platforms as there are acquisitions or as many specificities. We are not a Mitel of this world, after acquiring 30 PBX vendors, then you're just like, you can't move and innovate very fast anymore. So we want to keep that secured.
The new Enreach branding and the news of a new acquisition of UK-based Network Telecom was greeted well by the partners during the Centile Customer Summit 2019, indicating exciting times ahead for the group as a whole.